Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.
And welcome to the Kulturecast. I'm Chris Stachiw. What is your deal?
There was so much silence and then it just came out of nowhere.
You're welcome.
I wasn't ready for it. Oh, God.
And I'm joined by my giggling goof of a co-host, Mr. Eric Kniss.
Hey, everybody.
There ain't nothing to laugh about today, though.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough day. I'm hungover, and it's not great. I feel like Harambe right now.
Well, at least you're alive.
Ooh, rip Harambe, dude.
And we're talking about...
How is this a sports movie?
I mean, there's a horse race at the end. There's a horse race at the end.
It's not a sports movie. Don't let anybody tell you that this is a sports movie.
It's barely a movie, let alone a sports movie.
Yeah, it's really not. It's not the best.
Like one of the fucking worst movies I've ever seen, and not like in an endearing way. So
yeah, no, it's just like really bad. It's not like you go back to like some 80s movies and you're like, man, this movie's kind of shit, but like it's fun at least. Like, nah, this movie is just shit, and it's still just shit.
So that film is Hot to Trot. Yes, that's correct. Hot to Trot, featuring one of my favorite comedians, Mr. Bobcat Goldthwait, and Don the Horse, aka John Candy. Why they build the horse as himself?
I don't understand that.
If you read some of the trivia about the film, they actually kind of gives away why it was billed as Don the Horse, and we'll get to that when we get into a little bit more specifics. But the IMDb synopsis for the film is it's a fucking mouthful. Fred P. Chaney receives an inheritance after the death of his mother, a speaking horse that also has good knowledge about the stock market. With the help of his horse, Fred gains a lot at the stock market of Chicago. And this is written by Volker Bohm on IMDb. That was a synopsis written by someone who clearly does not speak English as their first language.
Freddie, you can't be a broker. I got a big deal cooking right now on the burner. Who in the right mind would give you their money?
Fred Chaney's going through hard times.
Get him out of here, Osborne. I don't care what it takes.
But he's about to get some badly needed help.
Fred, we've got to talk.
Straight from the horse's mouth.
Ah, jeez, don't scream like that.
Oh, wop, bop, loop, bop, lamb, bam.
So prepare yourself for a motion picture.
There's a horse in here.
So astounding.
He's right. They're brand new.
No problem, I can hold it.
So outrageous.
What do you think of this, Mr. Horse?
Oh, yeah.
So thrilling.
Moving fast is done.
And so sexy.
She wants to know what it's like to face somebody during sex.
Whoa! That it'll bring out the animal in you.
Oh, baby.
Bob Goldthwait.
Honestly, he really does talk. Hi, Allison. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Dabney Coleman. And the ultimate party animal, Don.
Whoops, don't fail me now.
In Hot to Trot.
A womp bambaloo mom flop bam boom. Thank you. We're out of here.
You'd never seen this film before. I'd never seen this film before.
Nobody should ever see this film again.
Yeah, that's God. That ain't that the truth. So what did you think of the film, Eric?
It's not good.
It's barely a movie.
It's just, it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Like, not even a little. The acting is terrible. The writing is non-existent. The story is absolutely retarded. It's like a stoner movie without being a stoner movie at all.
Yeah, it doesn't pander to stoners the way stoner movies normally do.
Yeah, but it's like, obviously somebody on a lot of drugs like made this happen. And it seems to me like it's one of these movies where it's like Bobcat was getting like really popular as like a comedian at the time. And so they were like, yo, dude, we'll throw you in this movie and John Candy's going to be the voice of this fucking horse. And he's just like,
originally, John Candy was not the voice of the horse. And that's why I'm convinced they build the horse character Don as Don the horse, because initially, Elliot Gould was the voice of the horse. And then after it tested so poorly, they went back in and re-recorded it with John Candy's voice. And he ignored the script and he improvised all of his own dialogue.
Yeah, it pretty much sounds like it.
Right?
It sounds like everything in this movie was just like made the fuck up.
There's a point in this film where I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. The horse, voiced by John Candy, calls Dabney Coleman a faggot. And I had to rewind like 4 times to make sure I heard it right, because it's like he says like faggot, but it's like faggot, like really like subtly and very softly. And I was like, why is this in this? It's like so offensive.
The shit you could get away with in the 80s, man. It was a fucking magical, wonderful time.
A talking horse voiced by John Candy could call Dabney Coleman a faggot. Yes. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. I want to live
in that universe, dude. I want to be there.
God.
Sounds like heaven.
And, you said that this is barely a movie, and it is kind of a stoner movie. Like, the thing is, like, Bobcat's comedy style was the voice. And you and I were talking about this before we started recording, that he doesn't do that voice anymore. He doesn't do like, the Bobcat, like, warbling voice. Yeah, he doesn't do the voice anymore. And he's a serious movie director now. He's directed, like, 4 or 5, I think, like, 5.
Hello, filthy movie lovers. My name is Gentry Austin.
And I'm Casey Scott.
And we're the hosts of the Sin Syndicate, film podcast for something weirdos, anti-criterion bros, and Joseph Sarno aficionados. Join us semi-weekly as we peer into the adults-only theaters and sticky-floored cinemas of the golden age of sexploitation, when the morals were loose, the laws were murky, and the intercourse was all simulated. Find us now on the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Movies, including most recently was that Bigfoot horror film Willow Creek, which was actually pretty good.
As far as like Bigfoot movies go,
as far as someone transitioning to horror from not making horror movies, it's pretty good. So
yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation before where we were talking about how when we were talking about Get Out, how we were talking about comedians and genre movies and how they always go together. So it makes total sense to me that he would now direct movies like a Bigfoot horror movie and that other super weird, like ultra violent, what is it?
God Bless America.
Yeah, that one.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, Bobcat in the 90s, I mean, he was known for being in, movies and the guy with that voice. And, he's in one of my favorite movies, Freaked, as the sock head. Like, that's his character's name. And it's a man with a sock puppet for a head. And if you've never seen Freaked, don't watch Hot to Trot, watch Freaked, because that's a funny 90s comedy that actually works on a lot more levels and actually has some, jokes that land, as opposed to, there's so many just terrible jokes in this movie. Like, when I think about this movie, I don't even remember anything particularly funny about it.
Yeah, it's a ultra forgettable movie where every joke, like, felt like it was this really forced thing, and none of it landed. I don't think I laughed once during this movie. I just watched it and went, what the fuck am I watching? This is absolutely retarded.
Do you know what Andy Breckman, one of the writers on the film, went on to co-create that is actually, like, relatively well received? Monk on USA.
Cool.
The co-writer of Monk wrote this film. Like, oh my God, it boggles my mind how this fucking movie is so bad.
Yeah,
it has like a relatively novel premise. I mean, it's not anything like super exciting or super interesting, but I mean, it has a novel premise, and it's got Bobcat, and Bobcat's funny in most things I've seen him in.
Yeah.
But then you have the character of Walter, played by Dabney Coleman, who I don't know what they were going for.
It's a total caricature. It's like but
it's a caricature of who?
I don't know.
He has the fake Asian teeth that Mickey Rooney had in Breakfast at Tiffany's. Like he essentially looks like Mickey Rooney's character from Breakfast at Tiffany's if they weren't trying to play up the he's Asian angle.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like a, ultra rich old white dude with, like, you're right, this like weird Asian angle to it, like, that didn't make any sense. It's just like a stupid amalgamation of shit, like
he's got giant buck teeth and giant glasses, and he when he laughs, he like juts his upper teeth out.
He's like,
yeah, he laughs like it's like, if we want to talk about things that are just like downright obnoxious, Dabney Coleman in this film, hands down, just one of the most obnoxious things I've ever seen.
God, this has what's her name? God, what is that actress's name from? Oh my God,
Virginia
she's been in a bunch of
Madsen?
Shit. Yeah,
From
Virginia
Candyman?
Madsen. From Candyman. Oh God, now I want to watch Candyman, which is a much better movie than this movie.
I mean, most movies are better than this film.
Almost every movie. If given the choice between watching this movie and watching Batman v Superman, I would watch Batman v Superman again.
I mean, that's the issue with this movie, is that it's an 88-minute long film. It feels like a 2-hour long film.
Oh, God, yeah.
It just drags. There's like these weird subplots that kind of go nowhere. How the horse wants to have sex with Dabney Coleman's horse that he owns. And that comes up a couple times, and it comes to the point where Don, the horse, orders a sex, like, blow-up doll horse.
Yep.
For some reason, Bobcat and Virginia Madsen have a romantic interest in one another that's never explained.
Yeah.
And then you have Dabney Coleman, who's like trying to screw Bobcat over the entire film. And then there's also a subplot about these grains that make animals die that goes nowhere.
Yeah.
It's so all over the place that it doesn't feel focused at all.
It feels like they shot a 2.5-hour movie and cut an hour out of this movie and then put it out at 88 minutes. Like, they had all these other crazy things going on. Like, I remember thinking about that. I was like, okay. Yeah, the thing with the grain that kills animals, they mentioned that, and then I was like, okay, so what, they're gonna try to kill the horse? Like, had they figured out that, like, the horse is... I was like, did I miss 10 minutes of the movie where they figured out that the horse is, like, feeding him all the stock information? Which, like, also just pops up out of nowhere. The horse is just like, yeah. But then they never bring it back. And, like...
That's the biggest conceit of the film that I think is, like, so stupid. These stockbrokers, Dabney Coleman included, keep, like, having sex with their mistresses in the stables.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, what? You want to talk about something that's, like, not explained at all?
The one safe place that they can make sex
is as Don the horse, like, watches them.
Yeah. How's Don the horse supposed to get his horse rocks off, dude? He's got to, if he can't bang a blow-up horse or the, good-looking white horse in the movie. He's just, he's got to jerk it while watching humans get down.
And then a drunk woman comes into Bobcat's apartment after he goes up to a party. That scene. Yeah. I didn't understand
just for
that
no reason. And then she's like, "Look at this statue. It's so lifelike." And she's looking at the horse's cock. And then fucking, what does the horse say? He's like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't get any smaller when I get out of the pool either." And she goes, "What?" And then he says it again, and she fucking loses it and runs out of the apartment. Like, that's it. That's the whole interaction. Where the horse is talking about his fucking horse dick. Oh my god, this movie is absolutely retarded.
And then they make a Catherine the Great joke as well.
Oh, I must have missed that one.
Well, yeah, because then Don the Horse makes a Catherine the Great joke, which one of the more salacious rumors of history was that Catherine the Great died having sex with her horse. So,
well,
I don't know why the people who made this film decided to just muck it up, because it honestly. If you think about it, if you strip everything out of it, it's actually like a pretty funny premise, it's like Mr. Ed for the 80s, right? And it's even like a little self-aware, because Bobcat talks about Mr. Ed at one point.
Yeah, God, this is such a weird movie.
It knows what kind of movie it's going to be perceived as, and I felt like if they had just dropped some of if they hadn't focused on some of these weird side plots, or the fact that there's a horse race at the end, which is clearly how this movie is classified as it's clearly classified as a fucking sports movie. It would have been a much better film, but it seems so narratively just lost. It doesn't have any focus, and it's a bummer.
Yeah, it's just because there's no focus and there's nothing holding this movie together, it's just nothing. I literally have no opinion on any part of this movie other than it's just bad. Just because there's absolutely no redeeming qualities. Bobcat's not I don't know, he's not really an actor, a leading man actor.
Well, and especially not after this film.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. They had him do this, and then they were like, "Well, that didn't work. Sorry, Bobcat. You could do some voice acting stuff." And he did a fuck ton of it, and he's great at it.
Yeah, but you're right. In regards to leading man, on screen, no.
Yeah, no. And I mean, he's talked about I don't know. The only good thing about this movie is it made me go back and watch a bunch of Bobcat stand up and a couple of interviews and stuff. And there was something where he was talking about how him and Robin Williams were best friends for forever. And they were sort of coming up together, and then Robin blew up and got super huge, and was basically helping Bobcat get, onto that level, in small ways that he could. So I don't know
if this was you mean starring towards the end of his life in one of Bobcat's films?
Yeah, but he was talking about how Robin got him some job.
Right.
And I'm sure Bobcat was what? He did a couple of voices for that Disney movie Hercules. I mean, I don't know if
Yeah. I know, yeah, he played one of Hades's minions.
Yeah, some shit like that. I mean, I don't know how much Robin was integral in any of that, if at all. But I can't help thinking that somebody looked at Robin Williams and went, "Cool comedian," who then became this crazy big actor. We put him in a couple of movies in the 80s and he got really big. Bobcat, same thing. Let's try it with Bobcat and see if we can get another one out of this. And it was just a failed experiment type of deal,
Yeah, well, no, I mean, you're right. For all intents and purposes, Bobcat and Robin Williams share that frenetic, comedy style.
Yeah, they have the whole, Robin Williams just is the tangent master where he just goes off and then goes off on something else, and he just kind of never comes back, or you think he'll never come back. And then Bobcat's just it's like watching somebody with Tourette's on stage lose it, but also if you're paying attention to what he's saying, it's really smart and really funny. So he's not like that anymore, but back in the 80s,
right?
It's interesting. He played this character for so long on stage, in stand up and everything, and even back then in interviews and stuff. I was watching him an interview on fucking Arsenio or some shit in the early 90s, and it's the same thing. He blasts out on stage and talks exactly like he does in this movie and how he does in his stand-ups and everything. And it's a character that he just created And then, like, I guess as he got older, like, he just kind of grew out of that character or stopped doing it or whatever. And like I said, I've watched part of, like, a newer stand-up that he did that came out, I think, like, within the past, like, 5 years, 10 years maybe at the most. You know, he's older now. You know, he's got to be in his, like, fucking, you know, 60s or 50s now. He's probably in his 50s, like mid-50s.
Yeah, he's 54.
So, I mean, but he's just like, he doesn't do the voice anymore. He doesn't, like, do the act. He's just like a normal comedian now. He's still funny as fuck. But, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting because you see, like, back in the 80s and the early 90s and everything like that, it's just that all the time, that voice, that character.
And let's be honest here, like, the comedy has transitioned away from stuff like that anyways, like stand-up has.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some, but it's more toned down. There's less, like, caricatures in comedy now than there used to be. I mean, you know, you can't have a comedian, like, go up on stage and, like, smash a fucking fruit with a gigantic hammer and it'd still be funny now, where you could do that back in, like, the 70s and you were, like, a fucking comedic genius or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, man. And even, like, seeing this movie, I was like, why is he still talking like that? Like, is this just his voice? Like, this is just how he is? Is this real? Or is it like he's just playing the character that he always plays? And so, I don't know. It's just a character, you know? And he just never turned it off, or seemingly never turned it off. It's interesting. It's weird. Almost like, I almost want to do like a psychiatric study into, like, the mind of and the persona of Bobcat in his, like, early career. And either it's just, like, pure dedication to this character that he just never turned it off and was just always this, never not this, or it was just like a thing that was working for him and was funny, and so he just kept doing it.
I mean, I think what it boils down to, honestly, is that, you know, when we're talking about Bobcat and his career, you look at Robin Williams, right? And that character of Robin Williams always worked. It always worked. It was always popular. And then
it's a timeless thing, yeah.
But what makes that any less timeless than Bobcat's character? That's the real question, right? Because at the end of the day, I think what it boils down to is that maybe that the Bobcat voice is what diminished it versus because Robin Williams, his voice was always the same, but then he did voices. Bobcat, his voice was, you know, at the beginning, his voice is like that. And so maybe that was the issue. But I mean, I think you're right. You know, when you look at Bobcat now, his comedy, he doesn't do the voice anymore. It's more like observational black humor. I mean, God Bless America and World's Best Dad. Was it World's Greatest Dad? What the fuck is the name of that movie?
I think it's World's Greatest Dad. Yeah.
I mean, that movie is dark. It is a dark comedy. So he has a very good grasp of comedy. I don't think anyone would ever argue that. No. But I think that I think that maybe that voice turned a lot of people off, like the Bobcat Goldthwait voice, as opposed to if that voice was part of his act, as opposed to that voice was the act.
Yeah.
Right, because ultimately his act was the voice. Yeah. The voice, like Robin Williams does voices, but they're part of his act. He doesn't stay in character the whole time with those voices.
Yeah, exactly. And it's where Robin Williams would tell stories and then use his voices to sort of like accentuate certain parts of those stories, or, you know, bring certain caricatures like to life in those stories that he was telling. Bobcat just goes out there and just does this thing for an hour that's like borderline, like makes you uncomfortable, like in certain parts where you're just like, is this guy okay? And it's funny. I mean, I watched one of his old stand-ups this morning and I thought it was great. I thought it was way better than this movie. But like you can't sustain that like you can other things, you know?
No, you can't. And also on top of everything else, some people just don't like it. That's the thing. Yeah. Like some people, a lot of people could look past the Robin Williams voices that he did and understand that Robin Williams is funny. But so if you don't like the Bobcat Goldthwait voice, you can't look past it. Yeah. And I think ultimately that is why you don't see him doing that voice anymore. And if he does, he does it in like very like small doses.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Like, you know, even in the movie, like he's playing the character in the movie that he plays on stage. It's like not just the voice. It's like his mannerisms and like he's kind of like this weird, like nervous, you know, sort of like shaky guy. I mean, it's hard to describe unless you see it. It's really interesting, man. I don't know. I mean, the fact that you have Gilbert Gottfried at the end of this movie, like for literally 10 seconds, is like the most retarded shit.
I mean, talking about going from one voice that people find obnoxious to another, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but he doesn't even really do the voice. Like, he doesn't yell or anything. He's just like, all of a sudden, he's like the dentist, like, for this horse. He's like the horse dentist. And he puts a freaking diamond studded cap in the horse's mouth.
Because of course.
Because of course. Because why the fuck not? He's a horse that is self-conscious about his teeth, so...
We've never really talked about Robin Williams on this podcast. And, I think the couple times that we've talked about Robin Williams, they haven't been in the most positive of lights, namely because I think Robin Williams' later work is not the best. And I don't think anyone would argue that point. So I'm kind of curious what your thoughts are on Robin Williams, since Robin Williams and Bobcat, you can't really have a Bobcat conversation clearly without talking about Robin Williams.
I mean, I have always loved Robin Williams. I'm a huge Robin Williams fan. The Robin Williams, his HBO like stand-up that happened in the like late 90s or something like that, is seriously like one of my all-time favorite stand-ups. Like I remember watching it in a hotel room in Texas, because we were in Texas for like some like baseball thing. So like my mom and dad and me and my brother were all there, and it was like me and my dad and my brother were just sitting in this hotel room, and there was like this pay-per-view thing, and it was Robin Williams, and my dad was like, "Oh, we got to watch this." And I just remember dying laughing watching this, not understanding most of what's going on. I'm like, I'm probably like 10, 12, I don't know when it came out, or at least when I watched it. And so I don't understand like the majority of the jokes that he's making, but just like his mannerisms and his voice and, the way that he tells these stories, like I'm fucking losing it. I'm dying laughing. Like I remember that year for Christmas, my dad got me the DVD of that stand-up special for Christmas, and I had to have watched it like 400 times, I'm
assuming you're talking about Robin Williams live on Broadway.
Yeah, that's the one.
I mean, that's my favorite Robin Williams stand-up, and I know that there are better ones like Robin Williams, Live at the Roxy or An Evening with Robin Williams, but I feel like the early 2000s Robin Williams stand-up, that one is his best without a doubt.
Yeah, because I think it's like post all the crazy, insane, like partying and drugs and like alcohol and shit from, like the 80s and the early 90s and everything like that. And he's like had some time to like get his fucking thoughts together, but he's still like the same guy. Yeah. He's just like a little bit more in control of his own shit. And so that stand-up is really well thought out and really thoughtful. And there's not really like a low point to that show like the whole time.
Yeah.
It's really great. And I mean, his movies and stuff, I've always liked him as an actor and everything. I mean,
there are some missteps, but obviously in anyone's career, there are a lot of missteps.
Anybody's career. Yeah. But I mean, I've always been, a big fan of his and everything like that. It's really a shame and really shitty, the way that he went out and everything like that. And, I don't know. I was pretty broken up about it, honestly, when it happened. It's like one of those things where you just don't think about like how much somebody has affected you or how much somebody's like career or somebody's comedy or somebody's just like their presence like in pop culture and things like that. Even though he was doing some fucking stupid TV show with Buffy the Vampire Slayer fucking on cable, he was always still there. He would come out with a new movie every couple of years. I watched World's Greatest Dad and everything, and I actually really like that movie. It's really messed up and it's really dark, but Robin Williams was always really good at doing like dark, like comedic stuff. If you look at movies like Toys and other weird things that he's done like throughout his career, there's a lot of off the beaten path Robin Williams stuff that I think is really good and really worth watching.
And he won an Oscar too. Let's not forget that. A lot of comedic actors, and this is something we talked about last week when we talked about Get Out, a lot of comedic actors and a lot of genre film actors like Robin Williams, they never get the credit that they deserve unless they get one of those the Governor's Awards from the Oscars like Jackie Chan did.
Sure. Yeah.
So Robin Williams was in Good Will Hunting, and he won an Oscar for it.
Yeah.
Because I think he is one of the few comedic actors that actually had the ability to kind of transcend just being a comedian.
Yeah, I mean, he was just a good actor in general. I mean, he was in fucking Good Will Hunting. He was in
Don't say Patch Adams, please.
No, Dead Poets Society and shit. I mean, he's been in a bunch of like crazy good, he's just in a bunch of really good movies. And I don't know, man. It sucks to think about, just the fact that he's gone and the way that it happened, and whether or not it was preventable, or if somebody could have helped him, or if somebody would have known, ahead of time.
I think that was the thing. Like, I never got the sense, hearing about everything after the fact, I never got the sense that people didn't know who Robin Williams was. And like, that's kind of always the thing you always hear about people in the comedy industry, is that a lot of them are very like reserved, serious people when they're off stage. They struggle with like depression.
Yeah, everybody's depressed. Everybody's fucked up, like especially comedians, man. It's the reason that, they're so successful like as comedians is because it's their coping mechanism a lot of times.
Right.
Because, it's that thing that you have to have this, otherwise like you wouldn't be able to handle life. Just like a day-to-day life, just like you wouldn't be able to make it through the day unless you could turn around and, make a joke about something and laugh about it. I don't know, man. That kind of stuff, it resonates with me. I mean, I've struggled with like, some major and minor forms of depression in one way or another. And it just sucks to see other people that you just don't think about. You're like, oh, Robin Williams, like, he's got to be, he made it out the other side. He made it out of, the whole, like, being an alcoholic and being addicted to drugs and everything like that. And he was like, really successful and well loved, and everybody knew him. And, it was just kind of one of those things where it's like out of nowhere, he's just gone. He was just over it. He was done. It's a bummer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I've been critical in the past of, Robin Williams's film career, because towards in the last decade, there have been there had been much more misses than hits, obviously. Sure. And it kind of diminished, I feel like, his star power and who I thought he was as an actor. But, he was wonderfully cast in Night at the Museum. Say what you will about Night at the Museum 2 or 3, but I mean, like, he makes that movie.
Oh, yeah, he's great in that movie, and then...
And he's like the best cast person in that movie.
Yeah, easily.
So.
Whenever, like, he's very strong when he's playing characters like that. I mean, there's some other movies. What is the movie? Oh God, I think it's called 1 Hour Photo.
Yes.
Is that the one where he's like the creepy guy at like the photo counter at like like a Safeway or like a Walmart or some shit, and then he's like stalking this family. I think it's called 1 Hour Photo.
Yeah, you're right.
There's another movie with like a similar premise that has like a similar name to it too. But yeah, I mean, that movie is like very unnerving, and he is the reason why that movie is so unnerving. Like, and it's interesting to see him. And I think part of it is because it's him playing this character who is this just really creepy, really like gnarly person to be played by such like a comedic like icon. And so it kind of like, I don't know, for me, it made that movie, or made that character that he played in that movie a lot more effective, because it's that thing that you just don't expect,
Well, again, like I said, he really, like Robin Williams, for all intents and purposes, was typecast a lot of time. Yeah. And, films like 1 Hour Photo, The Final Cut. Trying to remember.
The Final Cut. Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm trying to remember. There was another one where he played like a serial killer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's it called? Insomnia. That was a Christopher Nolan film.
Oh. Christopher Nolan didn't direct that.
Yeah,
did he write it?
He directed it, and Robin Williams starred opposite Al Pacino.
That's fucking right, dude.
So again, you have this actor who, like, if a couple of things had gone differently, we'd be talking about Bobcat Goldthwait and not Robin Williams.
That's true.
Because really, coming right back to Hot to Trot is a film that I feel like if Robin Williams had been in it, we would not be talking about Robin Williams the same way that everybody talks about Robin Williams.
Sure.
I honestly feel like Hot to Trot like completely sank Bobcat Goldthwait's like on-screen acting like chances.
I mean, It might have. Watching this movie, I kind of went, no wonder I've never seen this guy star in a movie before.
Because that was like my first thought. He was in Police Academy 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, but he was like a bit character.
Right. And then they gave him his own film after Police Academy 4 came out, and they gave him his own film in 88, and then he never really was a leading man again. He was like a bit player from then on out. I mean you could say, he had a pretty big part in Scrooged opposite Bill Murray, but again, he was not the lead in that film.
Yeah, Bill Murray was.
Yeah, so I honestly feel like this film really hurt his chances as a leading actor, in the vein of Robin Williams.
Yeah. Because, this movie, God, if a movie, you know what they do now? So, like, back in the 80s, there was no such thing as, like, video on demand, or, like, straight to video was, like, a huge rarity, like, almost never happened. And so you have the studio who puts out this movie, and they sink a bunch of money into it, and not too much money because they're still testing this guy out. But, this movie took time. It took money. It took production to get
to the point where they had John Candy come in and dub over someone else's line.
Yeah. And they're trying their heart out to like make this a thing, and then they put it out in a bunch of theaters, and it probably just fucking tanked. I wonder what the statistics are on like how much this movie made in theaters. And like how long it ran for in comparison to like how much it cost to make this movie. Its
budget was $9 million and it made 6.4.
Yeah, no, that's fucking terrible.
I feel like 8 of that $9 million went into buying peanut butter for the horse.
Yeah.
Like, where did the $9 million go? Was 8 of it to pay John Candy?
No, they had to rent out the Santa Anita horse track for a day or maybe a couple of days to do the like horse race sequence that is 10 minutes at the end of the fucking movie.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of it went to paying John Candy.
I'm sure a bunch of it went to John Candy. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't know if a bunch of it went to Bobcat or not, because he was such a new guy. Like, he's not like, this was their tester to see if he could be a leading man. This was their. God. Yeah, now if you're going to test out a comedian to see if they can be a leading person in a movie, you do some like real low budget, like, you're talking like not even like $1 million movie. Maybe you get a budget of like $1 million or $2 million at the most, and you put some shit out on VOD, or the comedian just like crowdfunds it themselves and then puts out their own fucking movie on VOD or some shit like that. And then a studio then comes in and says, we want you to do bigger movies or whatever. Like, that's how this would have played out now. And it's interesting now that Bobcat is on the opposite end of the camera and is writing and directing movies, but not starring in them. So it's almost like he's like now later in life recognizing that, maybe I was never meant to be, like the big time actor like Robin. And I'm surprised he didn't like have a hand in writing this movie at all, because he seems like the kind of guy, and like most comedians.
Right, but this was like you said, this was when he was just starting out, so.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. If you think about like Richard Pryor is like another example. So like you have Richard Pryor, who's like this crazy, stand-up comedian phenomenon who everybody's like, oh shit, this fucking dude is fucking laying it on thick, dude. He's being super fucking real. And then they're like, we want to put you in pictures. And they fucking test him out in a movie. And then all of a sudden he's in like fucking 10 movies. He's in like every fucking movie, up until he fucking died. And I don't know. It's interesting the way that I've always thought it was so weird to take these stand-up comedians and then be like, do you want to star in a movie? That's like, you're really good at this one really specific like type of performance. Do you want to do another very different, very hard for very different reasons type of performance that we can sell to more people and make more money?
Right.
And you got to think like, I don't know, man. You think that like some stand-up comics, like that's what they want to do. They want to be in movies. They want to be on a TV show and stuff like that. But they love comedy, so they do stand-up because that's a lot easier. I shouldn't say it's a lot easier. It's
There's a lot less. There's a lot less. There's a lot less that goes into it from other people.
Exactly. You can go down to a fucking open mic. I could go down to an open mic tonight and do, fucking 5 or 10 minutes of shitty stand-up, and nobody will laugh, and that's fine because I'm doing stand-up. I can't just walk onto a movie set and be like, all right, guys, let's fucking shoot the shit. I mean, now you can get 4 friends together with your fucking iPhones and you can shoot like a shitty fucking YouTube series and do shit like that. I mean, the options that you have now to be creative are so much crazy different than they were back then. And so back then you had these avenues, everybody would come up, as a stand-up comedian, and that's where they just pulled their actors from. And so I feel like I wonder how many other train wreck movies like this movie exists from stand-up comedians from the 70s, 80s, 90s that we just have never heard of or never knew that they were in a movie or something like that.
Right.
There's got to be a ton of them.
Well, I mean, you look at it and you have Yahoo Serious was in.
First of all, who the fuck is Yahoo Serious?
He was an Australian comedian who had his own leading role and then went nowhere. Drop Dead Fred was Rick Mayall, who was in a film with Phoebe Cates, and then you also have chairman of the goddamn board with Carrot Top. I mean, these are all like the same type of film.
Yeah, they're all just bad.
Yeah, they're all vehicles for comedians who are better stand-up comedians than they are.
Well, dude, I mean, Carrot Top's got fucking more money than God, but that's only because he found his niche and he has just lived in that hole of Carrot Top in Vegas for like the last 15, 20 years, and he just wrecks shit.
Right, but that's my point. What it ultimately boils down to is there are some comedians who just are not great in film, or the people who write for them in film don't understand what makes their stand-up so great.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's interesting because it's like they're like, oh, here you go, and I think a part of that is like the studios and the people who are trying to cast these things and the people who are like, searching for new talent and everything are going to these places and they see something that's good and they try to think of a way that they can exploit it in a different way instead of just taking the thing that is good and trying to make that thing better. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like
they miss out on what makes this comedian good.
Exactly. And it's, a bunch of comedians have talked about it. I mean,
Bobcat himself talks about why he did this film. He did this film for the money.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Yeah, like he got the script and he asked his manager why he should do it, and his manager wrote on the piece of paper $$ sign. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he said that on Mark Maron's podcast. So
yeah, if you need the dough and you gotta fucking do a shitty movie to get fucking paid, then fucking you do a shitty movie and you get paid, and then you move the fuck on.
Yeah, like really.
So I mean, if they had a $9 million budget and he got paid probably not $1 million, he'd probably got paid $500,000, maybe less, to do this movie.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, still in the 80s, that's a fuck ton of money. It's a fuck ton of money now. Let's be real, for normal people. But
to star in a film that is abject garbage, yeah,
dude, yeah. Dude, you could give me $500,000 and I'll suck the fucking grease right off your fucking taint. I don't give a shit. But I don't know, man. What was it? Mitch Hedberg, the comedian, has like a thing where he talks about like how somebody asked him if he wanted to like write a script. He's like, oh, you're really good at stand-up. Like, why don't you like write a script for like a movie? And he's just like, what? Why? I forget like the actual joke or whatever, but it's one of those things that's like, it's everywhere in the industry. Like, oh, you're good at this thing. Why don't you try this other thing? I don't know. It works out sometimes. And when it works out, great. Like it's,
like, you don't see Stephen Wright as a leading man in a comedy.
No.
Right? Like that's my like best example you could use is like Stephen Wright is not the main man leading material, and they've never tried to put him as the lead man in a film. So why would you try to take other comedians and do that with them?
Yeah, no, you're not going to get fucking Enrique Iglesias as a leading man in a movie.
Yeah, but I was talking about people that are funny.
Ooh.
I don't. Enrique Iglesias is not funny.
Yeah, but Enrique Iglesias makes a shit ton of money
off of stand-up.
Off of stand-up.
So does Pauly Shore. So does Pauly Shore. That's all he
true.
does anymore is stand-up comedy. Widely considered to be a terrible comedic actor on screen.
Yeah, I mean, fucking Encino Man, and then fucking...
I mean, I love Encino Man.
Biodome.
I love Encino Man.
You should.
I'll go to bat for Encino Man. That movie is amazing.
It's really bad, but it's also kind of hilarious because of how bad it is.
And then, you just have these actors who they had no purpose being leading men in films. Their films bombed, and people were like, I don't understand how they bombed. Yeah,
people are like, oh, you're such a good comedian. Why can't you be funny in a movie? You're like, well, maybe the movie that you tried to put me in is just a piece of shit, and I can only polish a turd so much, and it's still going to be a turd at the end of the day. So,
the Weasel, dude, the Weasel. Pauly Shore's nickname, the Weasel.
Oh, the Weasel.
Is this like Pauly Shore and Bobcat, kind of similar paths as well, similar stories. So you got to wonder, where the studios and everybody kind of went wrong and got the wrong idea. So.
Yeah, it's an interesting system, man. That's just, I mean, all of that stuff that we've been talking about. This is exactly what I was thinking about watching this movie. Like, the movie was so bad and I was so not engaged with what was going on that I was just thinking the whole time about how did this happen and why did this happen?
And whether or not this actually adversely affected Bobcat.
Oh, I'm 100% sure that this adversely affected Bobcat.
It did.
Yeah. So, I mean, good for him that he's like now taken his career into his own hands and is now doing really good work. The movies that I've seen that he's, written and directed have been great. And, he's doing a bunch of different stuff. He's not sticking to one, formula. He did a fucking found footage Bigfoot movie and, a fucking larger budget, really bleak, like semi-comedy with his buddy Robin before he died. I mean, I don't know. He's all over the place. Whatever his next thing that he comes out with, I'll be stoked to check it out. Whether it's a stand-up or whether it's a movie.
Well, there are a lot of comedians like Bobcat. I look at someone else like Alex Winter, who directed Freaked, who I spoke with when we did our Freaked podcast. I mean, if I told you Alex Winter, from Bill and Ted would be directing documentaries about the dark web and Frank Zappa, you would tell me that I was full of shit, 10 years ago. But I mean,
you are full of shit.
Yeah, but he's gone on to be actually like a well-respected filmmaker and like someone who's like making waves in the industry and actually, I don't know, like doing a good job as a film. It's like he transcended comedy.
Yeah. Well, so did fucking Keanu, dude.
Yeah. Wow.
He's now John Wick.
Well, and Keanu is a different story. He transcended comedy to become he's
a big action movie star. Yeah.
Yeah.
He learned a couple of moves of kung fu and then was just like in a bunch of action movies and a couple of really bad sports movies.
But, ultimately what this boils down to is if you as an actor are able to transcend typecasting, that's kind of what this industry looks for, is you making your own way.
Yeah, but they want you to do the thing that everybody's expecting you to do, Like if somebody, I don't know, take fucking, who's like a new actor that's in a bunch of shit. Take a fucking TJ Miller. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy is completely typecast, but that guy's also a stand-up comedian and he has his shtick and he has like a, that way about him. He's like, this sort of like loud personality, just like says shit that comes, to his head without thinking about it, like no filter type of shit. And these are like the roles that he ends up playing, like to greater and lesser extents, everything from Silicon Valley to the small part that he had in Deadpool. I mean, he was in fucking Cloverfield, for God's sakes, and he makes that movie awesome, in my opinion, because of his hilarious commentary the entire time.
Yeah, because that movie needs all the help that it can get.
I like that movie. Your snarky remarks can suck a big fat one. But yeah, I mean, TJ Miller, successful, super successful. Everybody knows who the fuck TJ Miller is. If you don't know who TJ Miller is, what rock have you been living under for the last like fucking, almost 10 years? But he's also like now being typecast. If I see TJ Miller all of a sudden in like a fucking crazy dramatic movie where he plays, like, I don't know, a fucking dude with cancer or some shit who like, saves a bus full of children with AIDS, I'm going to be intrigued by it. But like, is he going to get cast in that type of shit? Fuck no. No, there's no way. And I think he's probably smart enough to go, why would I do this? I mean, unless that's something that he really fucking wants to do and he thinks that he could fucking crush it at, then fucking go for it, TJ. I believe in you, dude.
But, ultimately, again, what this all boils down to is I think and I know that actors who do what Bobcat did are some of the most successful people in Hollywood because they're able to break their own mold.
True. Yeah.
Well, I think this is a pretty easy answer for the both of us. Skip it.
Yeah, don't watch it. It's bad. It's one of the worst movies. Like, we talked recently about another movie that we watched that I thought was like one of the worst movies that I had seen in recent history. Forget what movie that was. I try to not remember the bad ones. But anyways, this movie is now like pretty close to the top of the list on one of the worst movies I've seen in a while. So if you're looking for a really bad movie, you can find better bad movies.
Right. Well, again, there are these comedic actors who you just automatically, you classify them as comedic actors who are doing interesting things with film. I mean, Matt Ross, who directed Captain Fantastic last year, which Viggo Mortensen was nominated for, he made a good film, It sucks. It sucks that there are movies like this where people who are good and at what they do now were involved with them, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's just like, you live and you learn and you make fucking mistakes, and some people's mistakes are a little bit more out in the open than other people's mistakes. When you're a fucking filmmaker or an actor or things like that, if you make a shitty movie, the movie doesn't just go away. It's now there for forever. And in the age of the internet, our mistakes are getting more and more public, every fucking day. So
yeah,
when you fuck something up, on the internet, I mean, now it's in the form of like tweets and shit. If you say some shit that somebody really doesn't like, it's fucking there on the internet for forever. Same with making bad movies in the 80s, man. You made a bad movie in the 80s, like somebody somewhere is going to find a reason to watch it, like us. And then we're just going to talk about how it sucks that this movie's so bad when, the person involved in it or people involved in it, could have done so much better. And now they do. So,
yeah. Well, and I think that honestly, Bobcat is, like we've said, he broke the mold of what I would expect from him. He's doing really good work now, and that's great. So, I mean, this movie is a total the movie is a total skip. It's unfortunate, but I think I think that he's better for it for having made this film. Obviously, he's financially better for it, but I think that this is just it's an unfortunate. This is just unfortunate, but it happens. So.
Yeah, I mean, if this movie goes well, his career goes in a completely different direction, and maybe he doesn't write and direct movies like he does now. So Who knows?
What do you think this film has on Rotten Tomatoes? Because I don't even think we could. I don't even think we could pick a best performance. So
it's gotta have. It's gotta be low. It's gotta be so fucking low. It's gotta be. Hey, we're talking single digits here. It's. I mean.
How about we talk no? How about we talk no digits?
Oh my God! It has a 0.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah. It has a 0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yep.
It has a 0. That's for sure. So.
Yeah. It's
bad.
Yeah, like we talked about, there are 0 redeeming qualities in this movie. Nothing.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks.
You have anything you want to plug?
Follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, then that's cool too. You could just shoot me an email if you want. We can hang out. You could swipe right on Tinder or Grindr. Or whatever.
Got him.
Yeah. If you see me at the bar, you could buy me a beer.
And talk about Terrible Horse movie.
Yeah. Or not. We could just talk about anything else other than this Terrible Horse movie.
Anything other than this. Please. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm going to go back to playing Horizon Zero Dawn now and do something more productive with my life instead of watching this fucking piece of shit.
You can follow me on Twitter at Kulturestash, and if you like the Kulturecast, 200 plus episodes.
200 plus episodes.
200.
Woo!
We just passed our 200th episode where we talked about End of Days with the Projection Booths podcast host, Mr. Mike White. So check that one out. Head on over to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and Mixlr, where we do this thing live sometimes, to check out the Kulturecast. Give us a favorable review on iTunes so you can let us know if we're doing a good job, bad job, up to you. You let us know. Patreon.com/culture_shocked is where you can go to give us a couple dollars. Check out the backer rewards on there if that's something that you're interested in. We would like it if you were interested, but hey, you know what? I understand. We get it.
We get it.
And
give us your money, motherfuckers.
Wovoka.bandcamp.com is where you can go to check out Eric's band, Wovoka, and all the good shit that they're kicking out. All the death metal, grind metal, butt metal, rock metal, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it.
There's a lot of butt metal.
There's a lot of butt metal.